Order, roll call.
McCarrigan.
Here.
Scanlon.
Here.
Caldwell.
Here.
Vidlac.
Here.
Solomon.
Here.
Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3, for public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review. It's above Zach. 4, notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk. Additions may not be made to this agenda less than 24 hours before the beginning of the meeting unless added under item 5 of this agenda. Do we have any changes?
No changes, Your Honor.
5, citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda as required by state law, no matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. No emergency actions. 6, closed session. Council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary if the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. 7, Scottsbluff Youth Council. No youth council. 8, consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separately. Do we have any questions or comments on the consent calendar? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Scanlon, second by Solomon. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. 9, public hearings. Council to conduct a public hearing set for this date at 6 p.m. to receive information about the purchase of real property from Scottsbluff County. We'll open the public hearing.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this is it's about 17 acres of ground. It's just east of, or west, correction, west of our wastewater plant. And you can see it up on the TV screen. That little chunk that's about in the center of that, it's owned by MPPD, but it's everything around there. And then there's a little strip to the west of there too. That's a 7-acre chunk. So it's 17 acres in total. It goes clear to 21st Avenue. But that 10-acre portion down there is where we want to put our transfer station. So Mark and Dave Schaff and his team have been working hard on this. And so has Ken. Ken's done a lot of work on this as well. So we have an agreement coming up, but that's what the purpose of this is transfer station.
All right. Any other public comments?
In road issues, is it about a half mile that leads off from Sugar Factory Road over?
From 21st.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, you're 3/4 or a mile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes all the way to 26.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll close the public hearing. All right. Moving on to B, council to discuss and consider action on the real estate purchase agreement with Scottsbluff County and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Yep, and this is the agreement to purchase the ground. The county will still have a process that they're gonna have to go through, a remonstrance period. So we'll have this ready to go when they get through their process. This is the agreement, if you have any questions.
And the purchase price is $20,000.
Yes, and some of the consideration also includes maintaining
Okay.
the South Beltline Highway from 9th Avenue,
Okay.
and then it goes all the way to Highway 26.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Colwell, second by Solomon. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Solomon,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Scanlon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
All right, 10. Petitions, communications, and public input. Council to be introduced, K-9 Officer Duke and K-9 Handler Officer Weber.
Mayor and council, because the agenda was pretty light this time, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to get the K-9 in here and Officer Weber as well, and introduce both of them. Officer Weber's this second dog, and one of the best handlers that I've ever been around. I mean, he's really got Duke trained and dialed in. You'll see. I think you're all gonna be impressed, but Tyler?
Is what I can do is I can actually set up a little find in here that works for you guys.
Yeah.
It's just permeated heroin odor is what it is. I'll usually carry this around me now. I'll set one out, let's do this.
Just to further explain, there's not heroin. It's just,
There's odor in it.
there's odor of heroin in it. That rag has sat beside heroin for a while and absorbed some of the odor. So,
A minute to doing so. I'm Tyler Weber, obviously. Anyways, this is my second police canine that I've had. I've had Capone up in Alliance. I had him up there for 5 years before I retired him and came down here. One of my goals before coming down here, or when coming to Scottsbluff, was assuming a canine position again, which obviously I'm the new handler for Scottsbluff. I've had Duke since November of 2021, and initially when I got him, he came from Grand Island PD. He'd been down at the kennels at the training academy for several months, and he'd been through the system before. And I've had a narcotic dog, so initially when I got him, we started working their narcotic training and got certified. Once we were certified, we actually used a dog. Before we went to the patrol bite camp through the state patrol down in Grand Island. That was an 8-week long training, and we really dialed in his bite work, his obedience. And when we got back from training, we hit the ground running, and it was continuous, just whether it's narcotic deployments or patrol bite related deployments, detention, it was just continuous. This time of the year it tends to be a little bit slower with the colder weather, less people out, less going on, but when the spring starts rolling around, I anticipate picking back up. His activity wise, it depends. Sometimes we can have 1 to 2 deployments a week. Sometimes we can have 1 to 2 deployments a night. It just depends, but the training is continuous. We're always trying to learn new things, dial in different things. And also focusing back on just basic obedience, whether it comes down to, say, the narcotics, healing behavior, just basic things, sit, lay. I mean, we still focus on all that stuff. Stay there for the next 5 minutes. I'll let you know when I'm ready for you. We introduce food into training areas, different toys and whatnot. We train a lot with Deputy Osborne, State Patrol. Gary just obtained their next canine. Martinez is the officer who took that over, and today was day 1 of the entire State Patrol camp in Grand Island, so he'll be there for a while. But he has a good dog. I've seen the dog. It's learning. It's probably about 2 weeks ahead of just a random fresh dog, which would be there. We helped get that dog a little bit ready before it went down to Grand Island. They have a good program down there. The State Patrol does have a really good program. They know what they're doing. They have excellent instructors, handlers down there as well. One thing when I was down there with the State Patrol and talking to one of their captains, he knows Duke. He knew Duke more than I knew Duke at the time. And one thing he brought up was how much he would have, if he was still a handler, he'd been a handler for like 14, 15 years for the State Patrol. When he came across Duke and started figuring this dog out, he didn't know what to do about it. He thought this dog was gonna wash out when it was with Grand Island. When they started figuring things out with this dog and learning its behavior, its mind, if he was still in state patrol as a handler, he would have really appreciated having that dog, especially with its patrol work, and its narcotic work has really improved as well. This last state certification for narcotics that we did down in North Platte was probably one of the best graded narcotic, I guess, with the grading aspect to it, that I've seen for a long time on a canine, for how well he graded and improved from, say, November 2021, where we just got him and barely passed by the skin of our teeth, to where it's like, okay, we got a good dog here. So, nothing wrong with the dog, it's usually the handler is the problem, so that's usually what it comes down to. So, like I said, we've had some good deployments, obviously, since we've had him, had some good narcotic seizures. Obviously brings to court and whatnot and so forth, but, so we've been busy, that's for sure, so.
How old is Duke?
Duke is gonna be, he's 40 years old now.
4 years old.
4 years old, and I'll run till I can't. So and a lot of it's knowing when that time comes, if we need to retire him, which hopefully that's not for a really long time. So he's in his prime right now. So a lot of with him is understanding that dog and how to work with him on different things. Getting in his mind basically on what works best, taking small steps and working up to the goal. So say in people, and say in humans, it'd be, say if you're learning how to ski. Okay, pizza, french fry, green slopes. Okay. After you get through pizza, french fry, you start working up to different things, like, okay, now I can start, turning to the side, going sideways, whatnot, start hitting the blues and the black slopes, and it's kind of the same way with that dog. You dumb it down for him and work his way up. So, and that's what works best for him, so. Any questions?
Does he live with you or spend all his time with you?
Yes, I have a kennel in the backyard. The city provided an excellent kennel and dog house for him. Privacy fenced in backyard. The dog house is insulated. He stays warm during a lot of the time of the year. If I need to put him in the house, I do have accommodations in the house for him. But that's usually when a really bad storm comes through. This time of the year, actually enjoys being outside quite a bit. When it's, say, 5 degrees outside, he can run the yard, and it's his weather. So the summer's usually the biggest issue for him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is it important to keep him separate like that, or?
It is.
Is it?
It is. He's not a house dog, obviously. And, a lot of his characteristics and his drives that we utilize. So we utilize prey drive with these dogs. So prey drive, they pin something on the ground, they just shred it up. Okay. I don't want him in my house shredding my furniture, obviously. But if we're training narcotics and the toy that he gets is something he can shred up and play with, and we utilize that to our advantage. So, and I also have other dogs at home. I have labs, waterfowl dogs, so I keep them separate from him. So that's usually what I do with that.
Your dog's certified to find narcotics. Is it also certified to locate people if someone's lost? And okay.
Yes. So last month we utilized him down in Banner County for the sheriff's office down there. There was a report of a teenage girl who was suicidal, who went missing from a residence in rural Banner County, and we utilized him down there for a track. He actually did very well on the track until we got to the road where we determined it looked like someone came and picked her up. So once we got to the road, there's a change in behavior where it's like, well, shoot, I don't know where it's at. Do you? Oh, I don't either. he did a good job with the Banner County rural track. So.
And he'll do evidence location?
Yes, he'll do the evidence recovery as well. So say if we're on a traffic stop or we get into a pursuit with a violent suspect and someone throws a gun out into a ditch, that's something that we can utilize. We find the area where, say, that object was thrown out. We can go out and look for that object. I know Deputy Osborne has utilized his dog since he's had it for evidence recovery while locating a gun from a crime.
And Duke is a passive indicator?
Yes, so he's a passive indicator, so it'll be a stabilized position, whether it's sit, lay, or stand. Those are usually the behaviors of the passive indication. But those passive indicators, it prevents the dog from, say, getting to the source, whether it's a drug source, preventing property damage as well. If we're doing narcotic search on a vehicle, I'd rather the dog not scratch up a car.
And then talk a little bit about the bark and hold.
Okay, with the bark and hold, it's the detention. Say we're doing a building search and the bad guy is, say, on the other side of the door or he's around the corner. With that bark and hold, rather than going in for that full bite, does that person, we have to understand, do they deserve to be bit? Okay, so I'd rather not send a dog in, just go free for all, go bite whatever you find in there. I'd rather not do that. There's obviously a liability to it, there's case law to it. Kind of backtracking a little bit, we have to understand if we're deploying a dog on a bite situation or bark and hold type of situation, does it constitute for that? What's the severity of the crime? What's the flight risk? Are they a threat to society or to officers? No, so those are things we have to understand. With, say, if we're then going forward with a situation where we're doing a building search and we come across someone who's not, they shouldn't be there, say, in the building in the first place, but at the time, but say they have reason to be there, I'd rather that person not get bit if they don't deserve it. So we had a situation shortly after patrol camp where we showed up to a residence. Someone was possibly in there because there was a broken window that someone could crawl through. Sure enough, there was actually someone in the house, okay? We went ahead and we got access into the building and had Duke right about 25 feet away from the front door. Duke could see the guy inside sleeping on a couch. The guy stood up, there was a language barrier. Duke stabilized in that position where we didn't know whether this guy's supposed to be in here or not, if he had permission and so forth. We got the guy detained and started talking to him and so forth. He actually had permission to be in there, but he saw the dog controlled the situation with as a possible use of force if the guy, you know, if it needed, but it met the criteria for the patrol deployment, but the guy did not deserve to be bit. So, and I'm glad it did not escalate to that situation, so.
What made you decide to go ahead and continue doing canines when you came from Alliance?
I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed training dogs, whether it came from my first bird dog when I was really young, to the labs that I have now, to having the canines, the police canines that is. Enjoy working with the dogs and utilizing them to their fullest potential, whether it's training them things and then utilizing them for that purpose. So with the bird dogs I have, it's primarily waterfowl. I'm on my third bird dog now that I have, and then obviously second canine. So it's something I enjoy. Is there obviously stress to it? Absolutely. It's trying to figure the dog out. Every dog's different. Comparing, say, apples to oranges, whether it's my youngest lab I have versus this dog, what do they prefer for some sort of reward? Duke, he prefers toy over food, or bite over food, or bite over toy. There's a hierarchy of reward there. With my lab, or my youngest lab, he prefers food over toy. So it's understanding these dogs, understand the psychology to them.
Was it hard to work your dog in with your family and your pets?
No,
Okay.
no, it's never really been an issue. I've made sure I've accommodated to both, whether it's the working dog or the house dog. They understand where their place is, and so one stays outside predominantly most of the time. The other ones can sit inside and watch TV.
You're on shift work, and then are you on call like 24/7 then if we need it? How does that work?
I'm on call, so it's if I as long as I'm in town, if I get called out, I'm there. So I usually have my phone attached to my ear most half the time, so it's just the way it is. But the call outs aren't an issue. it's part of it. It's something to understand having a canine. So like I said, the Banner County one, that was a call out. And say this last issue with the whole gearing school and whatnot issue, I was down in Broadwater, I was shed hunting down there on the river. It's like, okay, find out something's going on gearing, let's load up, let's go back and get ready, and if we need to get called out, you know, we'll get called out, get rid of these dogs, get the other dog, get the other car and go kind of thing, so.
So if you had to clear a school with the dog, save you time.
I'm sorry, what's that?
If you had to clear a school, I assume the dog would save you a lot of time.
It would, yes, absolutely. So the dogs are not a lethal force tool. They come into the same realm as, say, pepper spray or a taser. I mean, that's within where they are. I mean, if it's a dog call, then it's a dog call. If it's not a dog call, and so be it. Can they be utilized in clearing school? Absolutely. Do they save a lot of time? Yes, they do. So with something like that, with clearing school, absolutely, we can, say if we have 2 dogs, we can utilize, say, one upstairs, one downstairs, and a lot of that goes back to the obedience as well. You're clearing a building, whatnot, clearing rooms, whether it's bathrooms, hallways, so forth, and working the obedience on those dogs, and then working up to them and moving as a team with the dog as well. So with other officers and having and then with the canine and having the trust between them and the officers and the familiarity. So these dogs, whether it's Duke or say the sheriff's office dog, they understand who cops are, they understand what cops are, how they move and whatnot. If we're working on a search warrant on a house, it's important to have the other officers familiar with the dog, and the dog's part of the team. So it's walking up there, you know, if we're gonna say do a warrant on a house and we're on a back door waiting for possible people to come running out and so forth, or have to send the dog in, you know, we're ready there, and the other guys are familiar with the dog as well. And a lot of it, when it comes to the patrol and the bite stuff, say 90% of the time, people understand, they know what the dog's gonna do. It's a big deterrence for them. So, but then there's the other 10% of, oh, I could probably outrun that dog.
Have you taken him back in the schools again? I know you guys took him in one time and went through the
Okay.
lockers and that.
We haven't done it in Scottsbluff yet. About a couple weeks ago, we did Minutair. Nothing was found. So,
That's good.
but when it comes to running the schools, they are very helpful. They can cover a lot of ground really quick. Whether it's backpacks or say lockers or vehicles. And obviously the more you have there, the quicker it gets done, the more energy is, or the less energy is used by the dog. And so I know we've been fairly successful in Alliance when we were up there with school snuffs. When I had my prior canine.
Are other officers able to instruct the canine, or is he basically only connected to you?
It's me. Yep. So going back to that, there is a familiarity between there and him understanding what other cops are. So they understand how cops look, what they're wearing, what they look like, and so forth. Between them and a bad guy, they tell the difference, and a lot of that comes down to the training of it. So whether especially with the building searches, and if we're doing say a vehicle extraction, walking up as a team, getting position. And what I mean by vehicle extraction is say theoretically we have a pursuit, say a vehicle pursuit, the guy's not coming out of the vehicle, say there's access to a window, we can send the dog through the window to bite onto said bad guy. That's one thing that we do work on. So, or we put someone say farther back in the vehicle, get the dog in there, the dog will work its way back to the bad guy and get on a bite. So.
If you were unable to continue working with Duke for any reason, would he then be retired from service, or kind of like he's matched to you for life, so to speak, or would someone else be able to step in?
That depends. That'd be up to administration on that. I hope that doesn't happen to where
Right.
I have to give them up.
Tyler is the second handler for Duke. There was a handler in Grand Island that's started out with him, so you can transfer handlers, but we've you know, that's not ideal.
It takes time. It takes time to develop that bond. When I first got Duke initially, it's like, all right, this is a guy that feeds me now. And I guess he gives me a ride around periodically. All right, I guess we're gonna go find some toys and we're gonna find some drugs. Okay, it takes time to develop that bond. When we got him from Grand Island, there was a lot of issues that I had to correct when it came to his obedience. It took time. And him learning me learning him. One thing that was recommended with this dog, with his drives and his behaviors, they recommended someone who had prior handler experience. And when I started working with this dog, it's like, okay, they weren't lying about that. And it's not knocking the dog or anything like that. That's just how he is. He's a very highly driven dog. So it's kind of like, say you get a Corvette, fast car, obviously. All you get 6 gear. You don't get anything else. You don't get to go slower. Okay, we're going 100 miles an hour. Hold on, control it. That's all you get.
Have you gotten bit by him a lot?
What's that?
Have you gotten bit by him a lot?
By him, not so much. It depends. When we were down at training in Grand Island, there were some issues there where we get some nips and whatnot. And it was trying to work different things with toys and whatnot. Since then, since training, really nothing.
And they they changed their training a little bit to where it's more positive
It is.
reinforcement instead of more disciplined approach.
It is. The State Patrol, their training methodology has changed a lot. It's much safer for the dog and for the handler as well. They use the drives to their advantage, whether it's a prey drive, fight drive and whatnot. They play drives and everything like that. They utilize that to their advantage. It's not do this or else, or you're gonna get shocked. It's not that anymore, which is excellent. I mean, it's very appreciative. It's okay, this dog has this issue. How do we fix this? But the least amount of stress possible for the handler and for the dog. So, and they utilize different options. They think outside the box on a lot of it. So, yeah, their training methodology is great.
That's good.
So, especially when it comes to a lot of the obedience. And it's everything kind of comes back to obedience. As long as you're working obedience, I mean, that'll just transition to everything, whether it's the narcotics or the bite work.
If members of the public want to support the dog some way, what's the biggest thing that you need right now?
I think so far we're doing okay that I can think of. It used to be I need shoes and shirts and things you can shred up. So far we're okay on those types of toys. I do believe that there is some sort of donation page, I think, through the PD.
There is. People can go to our website and see how to donate. I'm pretty sure that we paid for Duke through those donations, all of it. And since we're talking about that, Duke cost us $8,500. That was used through Grand Island, and that was at a discount. A dog like Duke would cost us $12,500 right now, and that's just basic obedience.
That's just basic.
Yeah,
Dog, that's
no-
four
no
legs.
training.
Oh, that's no narcotics,
None of
that,
that. It's just basic obedience, and it'd be probably a 2-year-old dog.
Yeah, there is a vendor down in Arkansas now, and that's where a lot of, well, I guess backtrack a little bit. Duke came from a vendor in Alabama. She's been used as a vendor for, gosh, probably since the 80s, and she'll find dogs for narcotics, for explosives, for patrol, bite stuff, so forth. She'll use labs, she'll use shepherds, she'll use Belgian Malinois, Dutch shepherds. That's where he came from. A dog from her was, like I said, $12,500. Fresh dog. There's a vendor that is out of Arkansas right now, and he is a police officer. And the dogs that he's pushing are about $13,000, but those dogs actually have some training to them now. So they have some narcotic and some bite work, but they're not fully there. They got some, not really everything. So, and a lot of departments, say within Nebraska and Iowa, that's where they're getting their dogs from, is a lot of them are coming from him.
Wow.
So,
And how many weeks total did you say for training?
if it's a fresh dog, it's gonna be 6 weeks of narcotics and 8 weeks of patrol. With Duke, since he was already trained in it through everything, we streamlined that, so we avoided the 6 weeks of narcotics, and we just did the 8 weeks of patrol. Since then, it's continuous training. Last night, we were working on bite work with the sheriff's office handler. The night before that, we did some narcotics and we did some obedience. So a lot of his feeding, so when he gets fed, it's not like, a lot of it's not necessarily, here's a bowl of food, have at her. It's like, all right, let's go work for food. Let's put that into training. So a lot of our obedience is, he does said task, go sit there on this piece of wood, which is, it's called a place board. Go sit there and stay there for a while. All right, good job, here's some food. Okay, hey, stay here. Okay, stay there for a little bit. All right, come back over here. All right, here's some food. But the food is used as a reward. I could honestly use and I have used it as, the food as a reward for narcotics training. Oh, you found the narcotics? Good job. Here's some food. So,
Okay,
Okay.
let's see, Duke.
all right. Is what I'll do is I'll bring him in. He will not be on muzzle. He'll have his harness and 3 collars on. One's a obedience collar, one's a flat collar, and he'll obviously have his e-collar on as well. So just don't reach out and try to take his toy.
Don't. Sudden movements.
Sudden movements.
Oh.
Can't stay
Actually,
seated.
Duke is a really good social dog, so.
Are there any goals of bringing additional canines into the department?
Not at this point right now. Gearing's got one, the sheriff's office has one, and we've got one, so there's 3 right here. And
The state patrol had one, but they
I
lost
think they're
it.
coming out of North Platte right now.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
so yeah.
Huh.
Stuff kind of reminds me of
If
like
you could help,
catnip
awesome.
for
No,
cats.
um,
My dogs could use obedience.
Now, Tyler could have popped the door to, from a remote he has on his belt, and that would have opened Duke's door.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have hopefully came this way.
Yeah, right.
No, it's an awesome dog, very well behaved, doesn't bark. So,
Is it a German Shepherd or what?
no, this is a Belgian Malinois.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's not kidding, it's going 100 miles an hour all the time. It's just the way they are.
Lots of energy, huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I like to see it at home. What if she's a digger?
Probably.
I noticed you guys all slide over here.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, we could all crowd back here.
Oh, he's pretty.
Yeah, pretty dog.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the corner of this desk right here.
Over by Kent?
Kent, yeah. Kent.
Oh, he's on to something. Oh, oh.
It's okay, you can leave it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. With that, he gets a double reward, actually, is what it is. The first reward is the marker. It's a verbal reward. Hey, you did a good job. Okay. Second reward is obviously the tangible object. So, that's one thing that we utilize with these dogs is where they do get to rewards that verbal, they understand that. Implementing that verbal rewards, like say, you know, you get their attention, yes, here's some food, okay. They started understanding that word, you can say, you can have anything as reward because it's skills if you want. So with my bird dogs, with my youngest one, I implemented the same thing. Hey, good job, yes, here's some food, or yes, here's a toy. People can use the word good. That's usually a lot of what it comes down to. If you see like clicker training, people use little clickers. Just use the words, so. It's a double reward is what it is. So all that is just Kong ball.
Oh, is there anything in it?
No,
No?
no, it's
Aw.
just simple Kong ball.
I like his patch, the fur missile.
Yeah, I like his face. He looks like a big teddy bear.
Do you instruct him in German or Czechoslovakian, or you use English?
German and Dutch are usually what those commands are in. When I was down at patrol camp, there were 2 dogs there that had Czech commands. So I learned some Czech. And then some Russian. There's another dog with Russian. So sitting there waiting for the dog to come in, we're wearing suits and we're in hiding, you hear a command, you're like, oh, he's around here somewhere.
Hey Tyler, so every time he sees something, he'll just sit there and wait for you? He doesn't bark or anything, never?
No, that's just his passive indication. So he's just waiting for his word to come in. So if it's a street deployment, I'll say a vehicle, I'll still give him a reward, but it's just a verbal reward. I'm not gonna have a ball in my pocket on the street. I'm just gonna do that, but he still gets a reward of, okay, good job, you know, mark it, take it back to the car and move on with business.
How do you exercise him since he has so much energy?
Chase the squirrels.
Okay.
We do obedience work at home, we play in the backyard, fetch. He has, yes, good boy.
Just noticing everybody finally.
Yeah, well, he was watching.
I know.
Yeah.
He, with this dog, he typically he has a toy in the back of the car, this one he keeps in the back of the car with him. At home, he keeps toys out in the backyard. I have some, they're called, I think, Indestructible or Raw Dog or some sort of ball I get down from Burnox. And he hasn't been able to get them torn apart yet, so he has a couple of those out in the yard. In the training methodology, part of what it used to be was these dogs, you don't get a toy unless you use something good. Well, with this one, you know, have a toy, you know, that's okay. You know, as long as you're not working at the time, you can have a toy. And so he just keeps it in the back of the car. If he wants to chew on it, he can chew on it. It kind of, with this dog, it kind of, in a sense, maybe depreciates the value of it a little bit, which is okay because he's got such a high prey drive and play drive. But he still goes 100 miles an hour and he works hard, so.
What's his diet like? Like, I know you said that you give him treats with the training, but like, what, do you just give him dry food or do you give him?
Dry food, yep. That's all it is. Keep it simple. So, I've seen some dogs that are on raw food diets, I've seen that. There's a handler I know who is in Iowa, he trains dogs down there on the side of being a cop. He trains them for narcotic and patrol purposes. I think he uses like, just grinds up chicken, he gets it from somewhere and just feeds them straight chicken.
He's cool.
Well, thank you for bringing him in.
Yeah, thank you.
He's impressive.
Like on the internet.
It's just your bosses, it's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
I'll get my toy.
He's sharp.
Yeah. All right, 11, council reports, informational only. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting.
So I have a zoo report. I met with the zoo board and then I met with the new interim director. So the new interim director is Desiree Davison and she took over Monday, March 6th. So she's brand new on the job. She's been a zookeeper before, but This is a new ball game around the zoo. So the important thing is they did get their AZA application extension, and the AZA is gonna extend it to April 1st. And so they're going full speed getting that done. That's like an essential thing to get done. And they've divided out all the work so they can get that wrapped up. That AZA needs to be in place, before they can move forward with, they're trying to maybe get cats back in, big cats. They're looking at bringing in either tigers or a small lion pride. If they bring in the small lion pride, they're gonna combine that tiger and lion cage area into one massive cage, so they'll have more space. There's a new zookeeper coming in from Florida, and they're the level 3 zookeeper, and they'll become the head zookeeper and kind of run the show with all the animals. And then as part of the AZA, they're working on getting a second vet on call. Dr. Van En's the main vet. But as part of the AZA process, they like to see 2 vets available if there's an emergency. And I'll give you guys a copy of this. I'm just kind of going through the highlights of it. The Chimp building, the repairs have been done on the gates. They've also fixed some of the inner gates on the tiger enclosure. And all they're working on right now is just trying to get the roof of the building, of the Chimp building fixed. And Smokey the bear, if you don't see him, he's doing fine. It's just he's hibernating right now because it's winter. And with the weather we've had, he's decided to camp out, but he's okay.
Extended hibernation.
Yeah. So I'll give you guys a copy and then you guys can have that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you.
I did a ride along the other night with Sergeant Eckerberg from the Scottsbluff PD, so it was really neat to see what a conscientious and capable officer he is, and I learned a lot, and I was able to use the speed gun, which was the whole reason I went. So, that was a lot of fun.
You didn't get arrested?
Did you?
Arrests, no.
What about speeders? Did you catch anybody speeding?
We did, and it was odd when you find somebody that maybe doesn't have their headlights on or is driving a little bit too fast. You tend to find other things going on at the same time.
Anybody in a black SUV?
Mine's in the shop right now. It's usually me. Well, I went to regional governance. That was at the high school. That was good. So they gave us an update. They're struggling with employees, teachers, finding teachers. So that was good.
Ewing's in the same boat. We're having a horrible time getting teachers if we lose any.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Vidlac. Call the roll, please.
Scanlon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.